All right, let's get into this absolutely wild story about how one woman's simple curiosity about her new neighbor spiraled completely out of control and turned an entire street into a spectacle.
And right there, that single exchange, it just says it all, doesn't it? It's the heart of the whole story, really. That razor-thin line between just being observant and, well, being completely obsessed.
So how did this all kick off? Well, it starts with Dorothy. She's 52, owns her home, and her bonnet is basically her signature look. One day, she spots her new neighbor, Ralph. And that, my friends, is when her little research project began.
And let me tell you, this was not just a passing glance. Oh no. This became a full-time job for Dorothy, a calculated daily mission. We're talking timing his mailbox trips, coordinating grocery runs. It even got to the point where she's leaving a note on his truck with duct tape. I mean, who does that?
Okay, so here's where the story gets another layer. You see, Dorothy was so focused on watching Ralph, she had no idea she was being watched herself. The Brown family, who lived right behind her, their back porch gave them a front row seat to the entire Dorothy show. And Patricia Brown, she didn't just watch, she took notes. She started what she called the Brown family files, and her observations are just, wow. It started with just looking, right? Then came a platform she built for a better view. Then binoculars. By week 3, she had a full-on surveillance setup. Camping chair, cup holder, the whole 9 yards. This woman was dedicated. But every good stakeout has a tipping point, right? For the Browns, it happened late one night. They look out their window, and there's Dorothy. Nightgown, bonnet, and a ladder. She's trying to get over the fence to get a better look, and maybe even snap some photos of Ralph's house. That was it. That's when Patricia knew she had to make a call.
So you see the ladder. That was a major turning point. Dorothy wasn't just a passive observer anymore. Oh no. She was moving into the performance art phase of her obsession. Everything from here on out was designed for an audience of one. Ralph.
And when I say performance, I mean it was a whole catalog of chaos. She'd rev her Buick's engine like she was at a drag race the second he pulled up. She'd start randomly banging a hammer on her porch, pretending to do repairs. And the shadow dancing? She'd put on these provocative dances in her window, and with her bonnet on, it created this weird mushroom head silhouette. All of it perfectly timed for when Ralph got home.
But all of that was just the warm-up act. Then came the moment that took this entire situation from weird neighborhood drama to a full-blown 5-alarm fire. An incident so crazy, it got its own emergency code name. So Ralph gets home and he hears music. He looks over and there's Dorothy. She's on her porch, rocking a 90s tracksuit, a leopard print bonnet, and she is giving the performance of a lifetime to Gina Wine's Pony. On her front porch, for the whole world to see.
Well, that was it. Ralph's wife, Keisha, had seen enough, and this led to an absolutely epic confrontation. Keisha just lets her have it, basically spelling out that, yeah, they noticed her. How could they not notice her?
Now, you'd think getting called out like that, in front of God and everyone, would be enough to make her stop, right? Wrong. So wrong. Just when the neighborhood thought it had hit peak insanity, Dorothy decided to top herself with her most outrageous act yet.
So how do you even top dance into Pony on your porch? Well, Dorothy had an idea. I guess she thought it was brilliant. She takes her car, parks it right under a streetlight to create the perfect stage lighting for her next big show.
And right there, in her car, she puts on, you're not going to believe this, a sexually suggestive shadow puppet show with her own body. The silhouette was projected perfectly onto Ralph and Keisha's bedroom curtains for them to see and for the entire rest of the street, too.
And this was the moment that brought the entire neighborhood together. It was like something out of a movie. One by one, porch lights start flicking on up and down the street. It was this silent, universal signal of, oh, we see this. And Ralph's phone? It just exploded with text from everyone.
So now the whole block is outside, and they confront her. And what's Dorothy's excuse for her shadow show? She says, I was just exercising. Exercising. The entire neighborhood was just speechless, and her neighbor, Mr. Fred, really summed up everyone's feelings perfectly.
Okay, so the shadow show? That was it. The point of no return. This was no longer just some juicy neighborhood gossip. This thing went nuclear, and it was about to become a family matter.
Of course, somebody filmed it. The video hit the neighborhood Facebook group and just blew up.
And that, of all things, is how Dorothy's son Marcus Jr., all the way down in Atlanta, found out that his mom had become, well, that neighbor.
So the viral video, the public humiliation, and you can bet an absolutely furious phone call from her son, that finally did it. Marcus Jr. drives all the way up from Atlanta, packs his mom's bags, and whisks her away. And for the first time in weeks, Maple Street was quiet. But it was a fragile quiet.
And for about 6 weeks, things were normal. It was peaceful. Ralph could actually get out of his truck without a one-woman show starting up. But you know that feeling, right? When things are too quiet? Everyone felt it. They knew this couldn't be the end.
And sure enough, one Tuesday night, Ralph is just chilling in his truck, and he hears a squeak, a rhythmic squeaking from Dorothy's house, and it gets faster. And then there's loud, very fake moaning. And then the grand finale. She starts yelling his nickname, Ralphie!
And here we go again. The porch lights flick on, the whole neighborhood comes outside. Someone makes that final, desperate call to her son, Marcus Jr., who probably heard the story and just thought, of course this is happening.
But this time, it was different. Standing there with the entire neighborhood as her audience one last time, the act finally dropped. Before her son took her away for good, Dorothy confessed what was really going on. And it was just sad. She was lonely, incredibly lonely. And one small act of kindness from Ralph had spun out of control in her mind into this massive obsession. So, peace finally returns to Maple Street. But Keisha, Ralph's wife, gets the last word. And her words are kind of a chilling reminder, you know? This whole story is it's hilariously absurd on one hand, but it's also really unsettling. It's about what happens when deep, deep loneliness boils over in a really public way. And it leaves you with one final question. Is this nightmare really finally over? Or is this just a brief intermission?